Joining us now on the line is Ann Coulter, the author of In Trump We Trust, and she's a guest on the show, usually on Mondays. Ann, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Good to talk to you, Howie.
Well, what do you make of Brian Ross's breathless scoop on Friday?
Okay, I've been seeing the headlines. What was his breathless scoop? What was the big? I actually like Brian Ross. I know he's getting a lot of flack for this, but what did he get wrong?
He said that candidate Donald Trump had authorized Michael Flynn to basically play footsie with the Russians before the election, which would have been, I guess, a violation of the law. But he never did that. It was a totally bogus story. He didn't.
Right.
He asked him in late December of last year.
Right. The transition.
7 months after the election, and all he asked him to do was ask him if the Russians can help us get rid of ISIS in Syria, which doesn't really sound like a treasonous offense to me.
Well, I will say in Brian Ross's defense, he's a very good reporter most of the time. Yes, he's made a few mistakes. One famous one I know you're going to bring up to me.
A few mistakes? We don't have time for me to bring up all the mistakes, Ann.
Yeah, but he was great during the Clinton stuff. I mean, he's a real reporter. I don't think he's doing this out of political ideology. I think he wants to be first, and he wants to go fast, and he wants to have breaking news.
Well, you know the story of Pavlov's dog, right? You say something to the dog, you show him a piece of meat, and he starts salivating. In this case, George Stephanopoulos was Pavlov, and Brian Ross was Pavlov's dog. And this is the same.
Talking to Stephanopoulos. Well, look, maybe he's done.
Listen to it. Let's listen to it, Ann. Just listen to it.
He has promised full cooperation to the Mueller team. He's prepared to testify, we are told by a confidant, against President Trump, against members of the Trump family, and others in the White House. He is prepared to testify that President Trump, as a candidate, Donald Trump, directed him to make contact with the Russians, which contradicts all that Donald Trump has said at this point.
We didn't have Stephanopoulos, but it contradicts all that Donald Trump has said. Of course, Donald Trump was telling the truth, and Brian Ross was telling the lie.
Well, I will say as a broader matter, just how utterly corrupt the American media is. I mean, all the rewards will come to you if you're attacking America, Trump, a wall, going on about these Russia scandals. We see what hosts and contributors of the female persuasion at Fox News, what they were willing to do just to be on TV. All these guys, they don't have to fool around with Bill O'Reilly. All somebody like Brian Ross has to do is be a ferocious attack dog. And I have seen, I won't name names right now, but I have seen various other reporters over the years who are really just great reporters, just gumshoe reporters. And they get blowback if they report anything negative about a Democrat. They become a non-person in the media. They're not going to get any TV interviews. But if they report something that is negative to Trump, even if it's not quite
fake.
True,
or totally untrue.
How many times? Let's do a little search. How often is Brian Ross? I don't watch that, whatever it is, Good Morning America. But how often is he on Good Morning America? This is what got him on TV. This is how you make your name in America. It is just so corrupt through and through.
They had a special bulletin, Ann. I mean, when was the last time they had a special?
And they're just reporters, and it falls right in their lap. They're good at what they do. They produce all this stuff, and I could see them being sidelined by their own networks, their own newspapers. Suddenly, the only things they're reporting on are, something like some boring story like Chris Christie's Bridgegate, and we're getting constant updates from some of these actually really great reporters. But I would like, they ought to wake up and notice, hey, Hillary lost the election. Now even Weinstein isn't safe. Now even Matt Lauer isn't safe. Maybe it's time to go back to being just the straight good reporters that you wanted to be and that you're capable of being.
Hey, Ann, are you enjoying these scandals as much as I am and most of our listeners are? With Weinstein and Lauer and Levine and Hockenberry and Spacey and all the rest of them.
Oh, yes, I am. I can't get enough of it. I met someone at a party the other night who said, "Oh, it's just so depressing. I can't even read this stuff." And it was, I don't know, it was like talking to a Martian. I can't read enough about it.
Right. I run out onto the I run out onto the driveway every morning to get my copy of the New York Post. I mean, I'm so happy I started getting the print edition, because I could just sit back, put my feet up, and read it. It's with a cup of coffee. It's great stuff. I love it.
It is really wonderful. I mean, all of us Christians can expect this on Judgment Day, but it's even more fun having it come now, a lot sooner than I expected. And I really do think that it is 100% because Hillary lost, and the New York Times, much less the New Yorker, never would have run that piece on Harvey Weinstein, which was what opens the dam, if Hillary had won. But Weinstein was a friend of Bill, so close to the Clintons. It's like it took the media 6 months to realize, oh my gosh, the Clinton machine is dead. Oh, in the process I was just describing to you, where actually, good and sane reporters, a lot of it happened in real time. As the Monica Lewinsky scandal was playing out, I was just noticing this with reading people like Maureen Dowd and who was the other guy? Bob Herbert, another one on the op-ed page of the New York Times. And, they're dyed-in-the-wool liberals. But when the Monica Lewinsky story first broke, I would say for the first couple of months, Maureen Dowd and Bob Herbert, it could have been you or me writing those op-eds, Howie. Mm-hmm. And then, somehow they check back in with the mothership, and everything Clinton has been doing isn't so bad because those dastardly Republicans, think the same thing Bob Herbert did. Oh, well, remember Joe Lieberman, Mr., conscience of the Democrats, attacks Clinton for his behavior on the Senate floor, but does he vote to remove him? Oh, no.
Right. Well, he was anti-affirmative action too. Remember that until he got picked to be Al Gore's running mate, and then he recanted all of his heresy about affirmative action.
Right. But I mean, specifically, I think we have not duly celebrated the end of the Clintons. It really, I think, has had an enormous effect in the fact that we're even hearing about all these sexual harassment scandals. But just, I mean, to force probably decent people like Joe Lieberman, sorry if all your listeners are rushing right now, but to force him to pretend this isn't a removable offense, it was kind of an amazing thing to watch at the time, and I really feel like liberals are just so sick of biting their tongues over rotten behavior. That's why we're seeing this explosion right now.
What are you? I'll let you get your reaction to the Kate Steinle thing, but this goes on. There was another case in Oregon. This illegal alien. I don't know if you saw this. I didn't see it in an American newspaper. I assume it was in the Oregonian, but I only saw it in the Daily Mail. This was an illegal alien from Mexico who had been deported 20 times. 20 times, Ann, and he had raped 2 women on one day in July. In Portland.
I did see that. And by the way, I comment on that in Adios America, which, as you know, and your listeners know, was not originally going to be entirely about immigration until I realized this massive cover-up we're getting both from our government and our media. And it was really striking writing that book. I mean, a lot of times I'd have to go find the court transcripts to find out the legal status of the child rapist or whatever. But the British papers, oh my gosh, they are so much more honest, at least about immigrant crimes taking place in our country. I don't think they're honest about immigrant crimes taking place in their countries. It's the damnedest thing, but you have to go to the foreign press to get the truth about the perfidy of the people we're importing at breakneck speed.
Yeah, we have a case breaking in Massachusetts today. A heroin dealer deported 8 times. Ann, it'll be I gave him a heads up at my newspaper, the Herald. It'll be in the paper tomorrow. But 8 times, and he's a drug dealer going back 30 years, and he's still walking around the country with a fake driver's license. It's just one after another. These cases never end.
Well, this annoyed me about your president, Donald Trump.
My president.
Donating some huge portion of his salary, to fight the opioid epidemic. He's donating it to the Department of Health and Human Services. Great, so he can hire a bunch of federal employees who will do nothing, sit on their butts, and can never be fired. He should have donated it to building the wall. We ought to take out bonds to build the wall. As I think I've mentioned on this program before, I've been screaming it from the rooftops, this magnificent book, Dreamland, by a great investigative reporter, and still a great investigative reporter, Sam Quinones from the Los Angeles Times. 100% of the heroin problem in this country is from Mexico. He traces it back to the town it comes from. They deliver like Domino's Pizza, and part of the reason it's gone to all of these white areas, it's an interesting thing from his book, Dreamland, is that the Mexican drug dealers, they don't want to deal with American blacks. They say they're too violent, so they specifically avoid places like Baltimore. They don't carry guns. It's really hard to shut down because the ones who get arrested are just the delivery boys, so they only have a small amount of heroin. They don't cut it because they don't use it themselves, but you can see the entire heroin problem is entirely a problem of not having a wall.
Right. I know we've got our new sweatshirt here. I'll make a pitch for it at HowieCarrShow.com. It says, "All I want for Christmas is a big tall wall." It's a perfect
I love
Christmas
you. You must
gift.
send that to me immediately.
We will be sending you one. What's your size, Ann? Small, right?
Or extra small if you have it, and I prefer tank tops.
All right. I do recall that now that you mention it. I don't know if we have any tank tops, but we'll see if we can get you a small
All
sweatshirt.
girls prefer tank tops. The last time I pushed this on you, you had a huge outcry from the other women in your audience saying, yes, we don't wear T-shirts.
This is a sweatshirt, though. It's nice.
Oh, that's even better. Oh, I love sweatshirts.
Okay. Well, you're getting one, Ann. You're getting one.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. That's Ann Coulter, the author of In Trump We Trust. We'll be back with more of your calls in just a moment, and we will take some calls in the next segment. I'm Howie Carr.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.